Welcome to my mid-year book Freakout tag. It is currently July 18th as I'm filming this. I don't know when I'm gonna upload it, so it is beyond the midway point of 2020. I am gonna answer these questions based on the 150 books I read by the time June 30th rolled around. I know 150 books is a lot, and that was not my plan at the beginning of the year. However, with the coronavirus pandemic going on, I have been reading a lot, and that's a discussion for a different day. But I found 13 questions. I took them from like a different video. I know there's a lot of different configurations of questions going around for this tag, but these are the 13 I'm going to answer, and I'm going to do that based on the 150 books I read in the first half of the year. The first question is, best book you've read so far in 2020? I am really trying to do one answer per question. However, in this case, I am doing two, and I'm going to tell you why. The best book, full stop, I read this year is Red, White, and Royal Blue. This is the only book I gave a full 5 stars to, which is a rating I'm super stingy with. And I usually only give it out upon reread, so this is full 5 stars, but reread. This, Tell Me How You Really Feel by Aminah Safi, is 4.75 stars, and I read it for the first time this year, and I really liked it. It's all about like making a film together and like being rivals and a sapphic relationship, which I really enjoyed. I'm not going to say anything about Red, White, and Royal Blue because literally everybody has read that. I want to quickly fix my hair, and then I'm going to get back with question number 2. And we're back. Question number 2. Best sequel you've read so far in 2020. That is Archenemies by Marissa Meyer, which is the second book in the Renegades trilogy, which I think is kind of underrated. I too really love her Cinder Lulu Chronicles series, but I am really appreciating these books as well. I am not yet done with the trilogy. I still have the 3rd book to read, which I really gotta get to. Question number 3, a new release you haven't read yet, but want to. There's a lot. A lot of them my library bought, but I am going with one that I actually bought. It's not the only one I still have that I have bought that's come out this year that I want to read, but my answer is Loveless by Alice Oseman, which just came, well, this is obviously a book that came out after the 30th of June, but it doesn't matter. Like, I want to read it. And I also wanted to read it on the 30th of June. Alright, there's also a lot of other ones, but let's not get into that. That's just gonna take way too long. Now, question number 4 is a book that I don't actually own yet because it's most anticipated release for the second half of the year. Again, there's a lot. This is actually also an answer, but I already have it right now, so we're not gonna get that one. So it's Darius the Great Deserves Better, which is the sequel to Darius the Great Is Not Okay, which is right here. And I'm really excited. I really loved the first book, and I'm excited to read the second one. Then we have question number 5, Biggest Disappointment, which thankfully I also do not own, and a little bit of backstory on that one. I mean, it is the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, which I read through German audiobook. I might also put the German cover on here because I actually prefer it. I did not get the book because I was expecting to be disappointed in a way. However, I am a huge Suzanne Collins fan. I absolutely loved the Hunger Games trilogy. It's also right here. And I really wanted her to write a good book. And in my opinion, it was not. It was kind of garbage. So, was really disappointed. also was expecting to be disappointed because of the main character of the book, but let's not talk about that because we don't want to be too negative on here. Question number 6 is biggest surprise. The biggest surprise for me this year was False Hearts by Laura Lamb, and you can't really see that, but alright. So, it also has really pretty spread edges. So I had this book on my Amazon wishlist for years, and then last year I bought it for cheap, used on a used book site, and I wasn't really that excited about it anymore. So I think this might be a book that a lot of people have not heard about. It is basically about 2 twin sisters who were born co-joined in a cult. So they grew up being co-joined still, and eventually they fled the cult, and then they were separated. And it's sci-fi, but it's primarily a thriller, as one of the sisters steps into the footsteps of the other sister and tries to solve a mystery. And it was so interesting, it was so good, and I really wasn't expecting it, and I really recommend it. And I still have the sequel to read, also something I still have to get to. Then we have question number 7, your new favorite author. And there aren't really a lot of authors that I found this year that I read a lot of books by this year, so I am going to go with Aminah Safi because I am really excited to read the other book that she has out, which I also have to read. Is on my TBR, and then she has a new book coming out this year, which I'm also super excited about. So right now we're going with her on here. Then we have question number 8, which is the newest fictional crush. I'm gonna do the disclaimer that everybody does, which is like, I don't really get fictional crushes. However, I do want to answer, and this is like a side character, but still. It's Anna Lightwood. I started crushing on her, on them. She uses she/her pronouns, but she is obviously not really a woman, so I started crushing on her when I read her short story from Ghosts of the Shadow Market, which is called Every Exquisite Thing, which is also among the few things I've ever rated like a full 5 stars. But she's also in Chain of Gold. She's a really minor character. She's a minor character, like a smaller side character, but she's great. I love her. And then we have newest favorite character, which is also not the main character, but a side character, and that is Pretty, I'm so sorry, from the Henna Wars, which is the main character's younger sister. And this year, something that I found more than in the last few years is that I really appreciate books for the sibling relationships they show. There's also 2 books, which I sadly couldn't put in here, that I've read in the last 18 days, which had amazing sibling relationships in really difficult situations, and I really appreciate those siblings who, in really difficult situations, end up supporting the main character through hardship. Then we have the book that made you cry, which I also have new answers for, but since I read them after the mid-year point, we are going with Felix Ever After by Kacen Callender, which is also an amazing book, which I do want to own. I also listened to that on audiobook. The thing is that it was back ordered for a really long time because a lot of people ended up buying it, which is really exciting, and I'm just waiting to be more willing to buy books again, because I'm trying to not buy too many books right now. Then we have a book that made you happy, which is also kind of hard for me to think of, but a really obvious answer for me is Heartstopper. This particular volume is volume 3, which came out this year. I did, however, not read it for the first time this year. I am part of Alice Oseman's Patreon, so I have read quite far ahead already. But Heartstopper is it deals with hard topics, but it is such a nice series, and it makes me so happy to read it. So Heartstopper. Then we have question number 12. Most beautiful book you've bought so far this year, or you received so far this year. And what I ended up going with is Permanent Record by Mary H.K. Choi. And the reason I chose this is because you can see that it's really shiny, and if you take off the dust jacket, which is made out of plastic, you this is also part of the of the main cover, and then you see this, which is just a really cool cover. And I did also really enjoy this book. I didn't read from this book in particular because I actually also bought this used. And the first time I tried to buy it, I got this, which is an art copy, which they shouldn't have sold to me. So I ended up getting it for free, and because I knew that this was gorgeous, the hardcover, I ended up getting the hardcover, and I'm gonna give away that arc to someone who wants to read it. The last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? And throughout this tag, you might have noticed that there are a lot of books I still want to read this year. However, I did try to find one book, and that one book is King of Scars by Bardugo. Why am I choosing this one? It is the one that has been on my physical TBR, and also my TBR of books I actually own, as in I also count the ones I have on audiobook or on Kindle the longest that I still plan to read. And I am a quarter way through. Let's be honest, last year this would have been my answer for the last question, because this is the way this book looks under the dust jacket. That's not interesting, but is gorgeous. And the main reason I bought it is because it was pretty cheap when I bought it, and I love buying cheap books. I might also not finish it and unhaul it. Let's be honest, the main reason I am trying to push through is because it's so pretty. Otherwise I might have already unhauled it, but alright. So this was my mid-year book Freakout tag. I didn't really talk much about what the books are about because I'm really bad at that. But I tried. Yeah. Thank you for watching this. If you watched this, let me know what your favorite book was this year so far. And see you next time, I guess.